So chondroitin sulfate is unique. And what we discovered, what's very important, is the sulfate molecule. One sulfate, and I'll show it to you later, at the 4 position. That's why it's called chondroitin 4 sulfate. It's made from cartilage, whether it's human or cow, from the trachea. It's very pure in the windpipe of mammals. And it has a very potent anti-inflammatory effect at the synovial membrane, the membrane that's in the joint. And we also have evidence that it diminishes these inflammatory markers I showed you called NF-kappa B, TNF alpha, IL-1B. And we can measure that today. We're now measuring this in autism. We can measure this in joint disease. And we know that it improves inflammation within the joint, and I'll show you that. Next slide, please. Okay, I call this the bottle brush slide because it really gives you an illustration of what chondroitin sulfate is. The bone is hyaluronic acid. That center column is hyaluronic acid, and coming out from the side, little spicules with the chondroitin sulfate on them. It does look like a brush of a bottle. And you could see that the structure of this is there to relieve pressure. So when you have compression, walking, jogging, riding a horse, barrel racing, jumping, each one has more severe pressure. That chondroitin sulfate was put there by evolution, or whatever you believe in, force of nature, God. It was put there to protect that joint so you could jump and move around. Next slide, please. We're getting more granular here. We're jumping in. You could see the structure in yellow on the left, and that's your hyaluronic, good one, yes. Who's doing that? Rich, you did that?
I got you, boss.
Ah, you're good, Rich. All right. Anyway, and you could see the proteoglycan aggregans. That's chondroitin sulfate. Look how many are. They only have a couple of strips of hyaluronic acid, but look how many aggregans you have. That's another name for chondroitin sulfate. And then look it to the right. That cell in the middle is your stem cell. That's called a chondrocyte. And when you have damage in the joint, that, you know what stem cells are. They rejuvenate. They replace things, and they can produce the molecules and the proteins that can fix the holes in your synovial membrane, can reduce inflammation. So this is a really key illustration of the key role why chondroitin sulfate was put into the joint. Next slide, please.